So I was craving some red velvet cake, so make some with me. Over here, I'm pouring my water, and then I'll be going to add the full cream milk powder to it to mix it. So basically, I didn't have like the liquid form of milk, so I just improvised. I have water, I have needle powder, so I mix them, and then I have my milk. What's it called? Full cream milk. Yeah, basically in my head, right? So anyway, whatever. So we mix it together, and then it's evenly what distributed or mixed, and then you add your white vinegar to it. So the white vinegar also helped to make the cake moist, so that's why we are adding it. And so you add it and then you mix it, and basically you leave it for some minutes for it to kind of curdle, right? So that's the whole point. Here we are pouring our flour, we are sieving it, so our all-purpose flour, that's what we used. And by the way, the recipe is from Natasha's kitchen. Yeah, so you can check her website for the exact measurements. Over here I'll just kind of going with the flow, so yeah, forgive me for that. Anyway, so we are sieving our flour over here, and then once we have our flour, we will soon be adding our cocoa powder as well. So very soon you see the cocoa powder being added. Yep, so there you go, that's the cocoa powder being added. And then we sieve that as well to remove any chunks or anything that you don't want in the cake. So that's what is happening over here. So yeah. Yep, I was just like very hungry, so just like something quick to eat. I was craving specifically red velvet cake, right? So I tried to hold on for some days. It just wasn't going away. I was like, let's just make it, and downhill went our weight loss, progress. It all went downhill after this cake at this point. So but it was worth it. We enjoyed it, so whatever. So yeah, back to the cake making process, right? So we are sieving it over here. Yep, it's a little ghetto the way I do my cake, but it is what it is. We are showing the behind the scenes, right? This one is just for me, right? So whatever. So we are just mixing it, just improvising the ingredients out there, the utensils I have. I mean, you don't really need some fancy equipment to make cake, right? You just need the bare minimum. In some cases, depends on what you are making. So in this case, when you're making a cake, you don't really need over the top equipment. Some things you just need a few basic utensils and stuff, and you are good to go. So all you need is the good recipe and the basic utensils or equipment, and you are good to go. So there you go, that's my baking soda. Yep, as you can see, we are going to mix that in as well, so you just mix them all together till they are uniformly combined, and that's what is happening over here. So there you go, well mixed. And so now in a separate bowl we'll pour our granulated white sugar, and then we add our margarine. Some people add butter, but butter is very expensive in my part of the country's world, so we basically use margarine if you can. To be honest, butter is preferred because of its higher fat content, but we used what we had at this point. At this point, all I had was margarine, and so I used it anyway, so whatever. It still turned out great. And then we add our eggs one at a time, mix it till it's well incorporated, That's what is happening here. So for this recipe, it's called for 2 large eggs, but I didn't have 2 large eggs, and so I used 3 small eggs. And then I also added 1 egg yolk to make it extra moist, trying to go for the fudgy brownie kind of texture. That's how I like my cakes. Yeah, so there you go. We are just adding the eggs one at a time, mixing them together so they are till it's well combined at this point. So that's what is happening, and you are seeing the butter transform right before your eyes from the powdery mixer, the powdery consistency that we saw, to this more smooth and the silky consistency. So now we are going to add our vanilla essence, and then I also added red food color, but I forgot to show you. So that's what is changing the color of the cake. So at this point we just mix it all together as well, till it's well combined. And so once that is done, then you pour your vegetable oil in there. So that's what I did. and then you mix it as well till it's well combined. And then once that is also done, you pour in your, your white vinegar milk mix that you had. That's what I poured in. And then you mix that as well, and that gives it a very light consistency. And now you pour in your flour mix, and then you just mix it all together, just so it's, till it's just combined, right? So I just initially just mix it till there are just a few bits here and there left, and then I proceed with my hand because I don't want to over mix it. Wow, anyway, I don't want to over mix it, so that's what I did. So you just mix it till it's almost combined, and then you just use your hand to finish it, and that's basically it. Now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, yeah, maybe I'll try adding chocolate chips and see how that turns out. What that will be one of these days. Anyway, so yeah, so once it's just combined, we are done. And then we are going to soon pour that into our cake batter things. So yeah, so once I'm satisfied with it, we will just put some margarine inside the butter, the cake tin, right, so that the baking paper can stick inside. Otherwise it will just be floating. Yeah, so yeah, that's what I'm doing, just applying the margarine. I think that was a lot, but anyway, whatever. Next time we use a little bit less, and then we put our cake paper, baking paper, and then we pour our cake mix in there, cake batter. Wow, anyway, so we pour our cake batter in there, and then I had a feeling it would be too much for this particular thing. I don't even know the size of that thing. And so once we are done with that, we moved on to the smaller thing, and then we poured the cake batter inside it, and you basically just level it, and then after that you put it in the oven, which you see, and then you bake it at low heat temperature till it's cooked. Ideally you should come up with some moist crumbs, but I over baked it, so it was kind of dry, drier than I wanted anyway. So you leave it to cook for some 5 to 10 minutes, and after that, there's me cutting out the bit I wanted to eat that night. And so once that is out, you leave it to cook for some 5 to 10 minutes, and then you can wrap it in your cling film. And so the whole point of the cling film is to trap in the steam to prevent it from escaping, as that is what will keep the cake extra moist. Wrapping the cake in the cling film, and then we leave it to rest in room temperature till it's completely cooled down, and then now you can keep it in the fridge and always reheat it when you want to eat it.